What can be done to address resource inequity in education? Walking through all the ways that resource allocation can impact student experiences and outcomes, it's clear that there's a lot to be done.
One great place to start is simply understanding what's happening in school districts, and we can do that with data.
Yeah, district and state leaders need to have access to the right data and need to look at that data regularly if they want a clear picture of resource inequity.
So, once we have our hands on the data and we can start seeing important patterns in resource inequity, what can we do from there?
Well, for starters, it's important to make sure that existing equity work in a district builds on this kind of data analysis so that you're actually making changes in the underlying structures, policies, and practices that create inequitable experiences and outcomes.
And by the way, these underlying structures that cause inequity exist in nearly every district in this country.
And you also need to remember that making changes in structures, policies, and practices requires coordinated efforts across a broad range of actors at different levels of governance.
That means it's all hands on deck. Legislators, state education agency officials, district leaders, school boards, principals, teachers, parents, and advocates, nearly everyone can do something to advance resource equity in education.
That's right. For example, legislators can create incentives and provide funding for districts to expand access to accelerated coursework or pathways and to universal pre-K.
State education agencies can require districts to collect and publicly report data on student discipline and other dimensions of resource equity.
District leaders can redesign their funding formula to ensure that each student and each school in their district is getting the level of funding they need.
School boards can reconsider school zoning boundaries and feeder patterns that dismantle segregation and maximize school diversity.
School leaders can establish schedules that provide each student with the time and attention they need, especially to support math and reading skills.
Teachers can integrate social-emotional learning practices into their daily instruction and collaborate with others in their schools to actively and meaningfully engage families.
Parents, community members, and advocacy groups can advocate for any of those changes and ask for data transparency to understand the resource equity landscape in their district.
The point is, there are dozens of actions we can all take to ensure more equitable use and allocation of resources in public education.